In Manhattan, there is a luxury hotel named the Royal Grace. Located on its top floor, Le Verre is a restaurant that offers a spectacular view of the city at night. The high ceilings, softly glowing chandeliers, and the quiet sound of jazz piano all contribute to an extraordinary dining experience. Everything is of the highest quality, creating an escape from the everyday. With my heart pounding, I stepped into the elevator. Today is going to be a wonderful birthday. I truly believed that. My name is Alyssa. Today is my 29th birthday. I rushed here, adjusting my work schedule to make it to dinner with my mother and sister. I looked forward to spending my birthday with my loved ones with warm meals, smiling conversations, and caring moments. This was supposed to be the happiest occasion for me. However, as soon as I opened the restaurant door, the expectations filling my heart shattered with a crash. At a table in front of me, my mother, Hillary, and my sister, Brittany, were enjoying their dessert. What? I stopped in my tracks. The table, covered with a white cloth, had used plates and wine glasses, indicating they had finished their meal. They were smiling and sipping espresso. Why, I asked as I slowly approached the table. Mom? Brittany. When I called out, they finally seemed to notice me. Oh, Alyssa, you finally made it. My mother placed her cup down gracefully. Her expression showed neither surprise nor awkwardness. It seemed completely natural. What do you mean? My voice was hoarse. We had a dinner plan, didn't we? Yes, we did. But I thought you were busy. So we started without you. I felt a tightness in my chest. You're kidding, right? It's not a joke. My mother spoke bluntly. You seemed so busy with work. We didn't want to burden you, so we enjoyed ourselves. But I told you I was coming. Yes. But we weren't sure if you could really make it, and we didn't want to waste the reservation at this nice restaurant. I was at a loss for words. You could have waited. At that, Brittany snorted. There was no need for us to wait. You didn't make it on time anyway. I was just a little late? Okay, sorry. Since you're here, why not enjoy some dessert at least? Brittany spoke lightly while moving her dessert fork. I tried to sit down, but at that moment, Brittany swiftly extended her hand with the bill. Here you go, Alyssa. What? A gift for you. It's your turn to pay. I was stunned. You're joking, right? I'm serious. Brittany laughed heartily. You're successful in your job, right? You can afford this. I was shocked. Wait a minute. Weren't you supposed to be celebrating my birthday? Why should I pay? Well, you're the one with the most money. It's not about the money. My voice grew louder. However, my mother just smiled elegantly, saying nothing. You're busy, and it's hard to make time for family, isn't it? She spoke quietly. Then at least, shouldn't you entertain us on occasions like this? I was dumbfounded. I had worked so hard for my family, and yet why did it come to this? Ever since I was young, I had excelled in my studies, graduated from high school with top grades, and even had my university fees waived, never burdening my parents. After university, I joined a prestigious company, prioritized work over time with my family, climbed the ranks, and continued to earn money. I even helped pay for Brittany's university fees, thinking I was doing everything for my family. Yet, to be treated this way by my own family, it seemed they never considered my feelings at all. I can't, I muttered softly. What? Brittany tilted her head. Enough, I can't do this anymore. At that moment, I stood up. Having a meal without me and then expecting me to pay. That's not a birthday gift, it's just an insult. My mother frowned. There's no need to say it like that. This day is important to me. Yet neither of you considered my feelings at all. Brittany sighed. Fine. If you're going to be this upset, I'll have Mom pay this time. It's not even about that. I grabbed my bag and turned on my heel. Where are you going? My mother called out to me. Home. There's no point in staying here anymore. Wait a minute. Brittany raised her voice in panic. Are you really that mad? It was just a little joke. This isn't even close to a joke. With those words, I left the restaurant. The cold night air blew through me. Shivering, I pulled out my smartphone and sent a message to my fiancé, Daniel. Can we meet sooner? I need to see you now. I was desperately holding back tears. I hurried through the bustling New York night, enveloped by the cold wind. Despite the glamorous city lights and the smiles of people passing by, my heart remained frozen. My phone vibrated with a reply from Daniel. I'm here for you. Where are you? The moment I saw his brief message, the tears I had been holding back overflowed. I just left the Royal Grace. I need to see you now. My fingers trembled as I desperately typed my reply. Red notifications appeared immediately, and the next moment, Daniel called. Alyssa. Hearing his gentle voice, I could no longer hold back my tears. Daniel, what happened? Please. I need to see you right now. I'm on my way in the car. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Daniel's words finally allowed me to breathe a little easier. He would understand my feelings. That alone made me feel like I could stand. As I walked to our meeting place, my tears gradually dried. But the pain spreading through my heart did not fade. After a while, a black SUV quietly pulled up in front of me. The driver's window rolled down, revealing Daniel's handsome face. Get in. I silently opened the passenger door and got in. As the door closed, Daniel gently took my hand. Are you okay? No, I'm not. As soon as I spoke, tears fell again. Daniel didn't say anything, he just held my hand tighter. His warmth slowly seeped into me, calming me slightly. Should we go home? No, let's go somewhere quiet. Okay. Without asking anything further, Daniel drove off. He took me to a small, quiet cafe located away from the touristy areas. The cafe had a calm atmosphere with warm lighting. As we sat in a corner seat, Daniel took off his coat and looked at me. What happened? With his calm voice, I finally opened up. I was betrayed by my family. Betrayed. It was supposed to be a family dinner for my birthday. But when I got to the restaurant, they had already finished their meal. Mom and Brittany were just having dessert. Daniel listened quietly. When I asked why, they said, "We thought you were too busy, but when I arrived, they pushed the payment onto me." Brittany handed me the bill saying, "Here's your present. It's your turn to pay." As I spoke, my anger and sadness surged up again. "That's awful," Daniel said quietly. "I can't believe they would do that to you on your birthday. If they really cared about you, they wouldn't do such a thing." I bit my lip. Just because they're family, it doesn't mean they can do anything, right? Do we have to forgive everything just because we're related? I looked at Daniel. Just because they're family, it doesn't justify hurting someone else. They can't justify the pain you're going through. Daniel's words made me realize something. He was really listening to my feelings more than anyone else. Thank you. For what? For really listening to me. Daniel smiled gently. Of course. Alyssa, you're the most important person to me. His words warmed my heart from within. While sipping a warm latte, I finally began to feel at ease. I don't think I'd feel any better if we go home now. How about we stay somewhere else then, Daniel suggested. What? We could stay at a hotel, or you could come to my place. Let's go somewhere where you can forget all the unpleasantness of today. I hesitated for a moment, but I didn't want to be alone tonight. Can we go to your place? Of course. He smiled gently and took my hand again. Let's go. As we left the cafe, the cold night air brushed against my cheeks. However, Daniel's hand was warm, and I barely felt the chill. We got into his car and headed to his house. Tonight, I would rest my heart by his side. When we arrived at Daniel's house, the moment he opened the door, a comforting scent wafted through the air. A gentle woody aroma mixed with a hint of sweet vanilla seemed to have been prepared just to soothe the soul. "Come in, Alyssa." He took my coat and gently ushered me in. The living room was lit with soft indirect lighting, the large sofa and the flickering fireplace creating a warm ambience. "It's comforting here." "I'm glad to hear you say that," Daniel smiled. "Just wait here. I'll be right back." He disappeared into the back room. I sat down on the sofa and took a deep breath. The events of the day replayed in my mind, tightening my chest again. But being in Daniel's house, the pain seemed to slowly subside. A few minutes later, Daniel returned, carrying something in his hands. "What's this?" "A small whole cake on a plate with a single candle. Happy birthday, Alyssa." I instinctively covered my mouth with my hand. "Daniel, I wanted to properly celebrate your birthday. It turned out like this, but it's still an important day to me." He gently lit the candle and placed the cake in front of me. "Make a wish and blow out the candle." Feeling overwhelmed, I closed my eyes. May I truly smile from my heart on my next birthday. With that wish, I slowly blew out the candle. "Happy birthday, Alyssa." Daniel spoke softly, and I looked at him. "Thank you. I never expected something this wonderful." "I didn't want your day to end in sadness," he said as he cut the cake and offered me a slice. Taking a fork, I tasted it, and a perfect sweetness spread through my mouth. Delicious. I'm glad Daniel smiled with satisfaction. "I wanted to make it myself, but there wasn't time." "Don't worry about that. Just preparing this for me means so much." I smiled and looked at him. Daniel shifted his gaze awkwardly as he quietly said, "Next year, let's celebrate at a restaurant you want to go to." His words warmed my heart again. "Yes. Will you be with me next year too?" Daniel gently held my hand and looked directly at me. "Of course. Not just this year, but always." His words nestled softly into my heart. The hurt from my family wasn't fully digested yet, but with Daniel by my side, I felt I could start looking forward again. "Thank you, Daniel. I'm the lucky one, having you in my life." As the fireplace quietly flickered, we savored the cake and spent a tranquil time together. My birthday finally turned into a special day in the end. The next day, I received a phone call from my mother and sister. My mother's voice was unusually soft, and Brittany spoke in her usual light tone. "Alyssa, about yesterday," my mother began. "We thought you wouldn't mind since you're busy." "It was just a joke," Brittany continued. "We gave you the bill as a half joke, thinking you could easily afford it. We didn't expect you to get so angry." Hearing those words, I felt a tightness in my chest. Is this really something that can be dismissed as a half joke? My feelings cannot be so easily set aside. But I've always felt. I began slowly, my voice trembling. Could they sense the pain in my heart through the phone? I've always felt alienated by our family. I didn't have time to contact you because I was busy, but I felt like you were ignoring me, and it always weighed on my heart. I said this, and then hung up the phone unilaterally. I was terribly shaken. Voicing it had brought out the pain I had been holding inside. Even though I knew it was the right thing to do, deep down, I still feared severing ties with my family. Soon after, my mother called back. However, I ignored the call. I didn't want to respond while my heart was still unsettled. Looking at my mother's name displayed on the smartphone screen, I coldly slid to ignore it. Messages from Brittany kept coming in. "Alyssa, please don't ignore me. Let's talk properly. We didn't mean any harm by what we said." Reading those messages, my chest tightened again, and I couldn't respond. My heart was torn between expectations and disappointments towards my family. However, the incident on my birthday made me think it was time to reassess my relationship with them. The self-centered attitudes of my mother and sister, their long-standing indifference, and now their insulting behavior had accumulated to the point where I could no longer let emotions cloud my judgment. Then one day I received a demand letter from a financial institution. When I opened the envelope labeled Notice of Arrears, I found a list of credit card transactions I didn't recognize. Upon investigating, it turned out that a loan had been taken out without my consent. This can't be true. I immediately contacted the credit card company to confirm the details of the contract, and there I found my mother and sister's names. They had been using my name to cover expensive purchases and travel expenses. It's okay because we're family, right? When confronted, Brittany nonchalantly laughed it off. My mother also brazenly said, "You earn enough, so you should be able to help us out a bit, shouldn't you?" At that moment, something inside me broke. This was not just betrayal. It was a crime. That night, I decided to consult with Daniel. He is usually gentle and calm, but he never compromises with injustice or irrationality. I felt that he would understand my feelings now and make a sound judgment. When I called, Daniel answered immediately. "What's wrong?" Hearing his voice, the tension in my chest eased. But this was no time for sentimentality. I took a deep breath and explained the situation. "So, your mother and sister used your name to take out credit cards and loans without your permission?" "Yes." And when I confronted them, they just casually said, "It's okay, because we're family, I can't forgive them." Daniel was silent for a moment. Then he said quietly in a low voice, "What do you want to do?" After thinking it over, I answered clearly, "I want to sue them. Just because they're family, that doesn't mean they can do something like this. They've been indifferent for so long, trampling on my feelings. But I can't tolerate it anymore." Daniel sighed softly, then said, "That's fine. If you've decided that, I'll support you fully. First, I'll introduce you to a lawyer. I know someone who is good with fraud cases." "Really?" "Yes. Unauthorized use of your name is a clear crime. If we act quickly, we can minimize the damage and the legal process will go smoothly." Daniel's words gave me a sense of security. I had been hesitant to discuss family problems with anyone, but he was different. He respected my will and offered practical solutions. "Thank you, Daniel. Really. No need for thanks. You're important to me. Let's go to the lawyer's office together tomorrow. If we're going to fight, we need to be well prepared." Listening to his reassuring voice, I felt my resolve strengthen. The next day, I visited the lawyer's office with Daniel to formally discuss the unauthorized use of my name and to prepare for legal action. The lawyer calmly organized the situation and explained that it was highly likely to qualify as a case of fraud. This can be treated as a criminal case, and you can also claim damages in a civil suit. Which direction would you like to proceed in? I answered without hesitation, "Both, please." I was no longer willing to cry for the sake of my family. The suffering and sadness I had endured until now would fuel me to protect my life going forward. A few days later, a legal notice was sent to my family through the lawyer. The first to be shaken was my father. Having overlooked my mother and sister's whims until now, he probably felt that this time he could not ignore the situation. "I want to talk as a family." At my father's request, I arranged a meeting with my family with a lawyer and Daniel also present. At the agreed time, we gathered in a hotel lounge. The lawyer, Daniel, and my mother, sister, and father were all seated there. My mother and sister had their usual dissatisfied expressions, but my father looked somewhat weary. Was it really necessary to make such a big deal out of this? That was the first thing my mother said. I laughed coldly. "If you think so, you shouldn't have used my name without permission in the first place. But we're family. So because we're family, you can do whatever you want? Even if it makes me miserable, I should just grin and bear it." Brittany retorted with a scowl, "You're exaggerating. You don't need to blame us so much. Are you that angry just because we used some money?" "Just some. Do you know how much money you spent? Have you ever thought about how hard I've worked to earn that money?" My mother and sister fell silent. They must have thought that money just falls from the sky. Then my father, who had been silent until then, took a deep breath and spoke. "I was wrong too. My mother and sister looked at him with surprise. I've spoiled Hillary and Brittany too much. Alyssa was always seeking something from the family, and I also turned a blind eye. I'm truly sorry. I was taken aback by my father's words. It was the first time he was trying to understand my feelings. My mother and sister, perhaps finally realizing something, looked down. Ever since I was little, no matter how hard I studied, nobody praised me. Even when I had good grades at school, Mom only cared about Brittany, and I always felt left out. Dad was too busy with work and seemed too tired to pay attention to me. No matter how hard I tried, I felt that nobody saw me. And I was very lonely. Even when I talked about my achievements, the responses were mostly indifferent or dismissively brief. Gradually, I felt like my existence was fading. My voice trembled. I wish you had noticed sooner. My mother had tears in her eyes. Brittany remained bowed and motionless. It's too late now. After this, I intend to distance myself from you all. My mother looked up. But we're family. Family or not, you trampled over my life, didn't you? My mother was left speechless. I will no longer be manipulated by you. I'll marry Daniel and start a new life. Daniel squeezed my hand. Whatever decision you make, I'm here for you. I smiled. Then the lawyer concluded. The legal proceedings have already begun. From now on, the matter will be decided in court. My mother and sister hung their heads, unable to say anything. Only my father nodded slightly. I'm truly sorry. I said nothing and stood up. As the trial progressed, the unauthorized use of my name by my mother and sister was formally acknowledged. In the courtroom where the verdict was delivered, I quietly listened to the judgment. The defendants are found to have used the plaintiff's name without authorization, incurring substantial debt. Therefore, the defendants are ordered to repay the full amount of the unauthorized use and pay damages to the plaintiff. My mother and sister listened to the judge's words in a daze. At the moment the verdict was given, Brittany murmured softly, "This can't be." My mother slumped her shoulders, and my father sighed deeply. "It's a deserved outcome." I stated that calmly and turned to look at my fiancé, Daniel, who had been watching from the gallery. He gently squeezed my hand and smiled kindly. After the judgment, my mother and sister faced substantial debts for the repayment of the unauthorized use of my name and damages that resulted from it. We don't have enough money. I never thought it would come to this. Brittany lamented, and my mother began to regret the easiness of their past lives. My father looked at them sternly. You've both done whatever you wanted for too long. Have you only just realized how much Alyssa has suffered? My mother and sister had nothing to say. A few weeks later, my father reached out through a message. We were wrong. I've only now come to understand how terribly we treated you. Can we start over as a family? While repaying their debts, it seems my mother and sister began to reflect on their actions and started making efforts to mend our relationship. Brittany took on multiple part-time jobs, and my mother also began to reform her lifestyle. I pondered their words in silence for a while before slowly responding. I can't do that immediately. On the other end of the phone, I sensed my mother and sister holding their breath. The birthday incident, the fraud this time. It's not just those. I have always been hurt by our family's indifference and selfishness. But I couldn't say anything. Even when I did, it didn't reach you. I closed my eyes and continued quietly. So, I can't just return to being a family right away. I need some distance. I could hear my mother sobbing. Brittany seemed about to say something but ultimately remained silent. Afterwards, I decided to cut off contact with my family and began preparing to start anew with Daniel. That night, I called Daniel. After hesitating for a moment, I heard his voice through the phone. Alyssa? What's wrong? I took a deep breath before continuing. I've decided to distance myself from my family. Daniel listened quietly. I see. Yes. I closed my eyes and organized my thoughts. I've decided to cut off contact with my family and start our new life. I thought I couldn't be trapped by the past any longer. Alyssa. I respect your decision, Daniel said kindly. But I'm really proud of you for how you've handled this and for trying to move past it. Thank you, Daniel. My voice trembled slightly. Being with you, I feel like I'm gradually moving forward. But now I really want to start a new life just with the two of us, in a new place. Daniel was silent for a while but eventually spoke in a calm voice. Let's do that, Alyssa. Your happiness is what matters most to me. His words warmed my heart. I felt that together we could walk a new path in life. Thank you, Daniel. Will you stay with me? Of course, his voice was steady. I'll be with you no matter what. Hearing this, I finally felt reassured. Thus I began walking toward a happy future in a new town with Daniel. Even after starting our new life, contacts from my family continued unabated. At first, I managed to ignore them. However, my mind often wrestled with thoughts of my family, bringing up complex feelings. One day, I opened a message from my mother that read, Alyssa, I truly wish you are well. If you can open your heart even a little, I would like to start over as a family. I sincerely wish for your happiness. Reading that message, I felt a hole in my heart begin to close slightly. Their words didn't fully heal my feelings, but at least they showed a concern that hadn't been there before. Contacts from Brittany and father also began to come in, and each time I struggled with whether to respond, gradually sorting out my feelings. I might have continued ignoring them for a while, but somewhere in my heart, a desire to reconcile with my family began to grow. Then, one day, while spending a quiet night with Daniel, I suddenly felt unwell. The next day, a visit to the hospital revealed I was pregnant. A mixture of surprise, anxiety, and anticipation swirled within me. At that moment, I decided. For our new life, I would gradually mend my relationship with my family. When I shared this with Daniel, he said with a gentle smile, Alyssa, if that's what you think, I'll support you too. If you want to bridge the distance with your family, I'm here to help. Hearing this, I felt a bit relieved. The responsibility of becoming a parent and new hope enveloped me, strengthening my resolve to improve relations with my family and create a warm home for our child. A few weeks later, I reached out to my family and decided to slowly repair our relationship. It started with awkward conversations, but gradually we managed to share our feelings, and I had the opportunity to speak directly with my mother. Alyssa, I'm really happy you've come back. From now on, I'll cherish your feelings. Her words filled my heart. The bond with my family had been damaged, but it feels like now is the time to mend it. For the new life Daniel and I are welcoming, I want all of us to stay connected and support each other as a family.